Hello and welcome to the News9 Plus show on the world's first news and current affairs OTT platform, News9 Plus. The United States is one of India's largest defense partners. In the last 15 years, it has supplied arms worth over $25 billion. It's a major strategic defense partner as well. Now, these US weapons have replaced entire categories of legacy Soviet weapon systems, from long-range maritime patrol aircraft, helicopter gunships, heavy-lift helicopters, medium transport aircraft. Entire categories of Russian weapon systems have been replaced by the United States military-industrial complex. Now, the US has used war to burnish its reputation as the world's largest arms exporter. The Gulf War of 1991, for instance, we saw US weapons usher in what was called the Revolution in Military Affairs, or RMA. In 2025, President Donald Trump has brought in a revolution in foreign policy, or RFP. Relationships are more transactional. They're mercurial and unpredictable. And all the strings attached to weapon sales can be pulled. We've seen this unfold in Europe recently, when the United States suspended arms shipments to Ukraine. Now, the US wants India to buy more American weapons, but key transfers like the GE 404 jet engines are held up because of supply chain issues, whatever that means. Now, these engines were meant to power the indigenous light combat aircraft Tejas, and the lack of the engines, the delay in these deliveries, has resulted in a 2-year delay in the delivery of the LCA Tejas. Now, there are something like $10 billion worth of US arms sales in the pipeline. That's a big number. On the News9 Plus show tonight, the 3 big questions. Is the US a reliable supplier of defense equipment? What are India's backup options in case the US fails to meet our demand? And lastly, we're going to ask how to firewall Indian imports from US pressure, the existing US hardware in Indian inventory. Joining me on the News9 Plus show tonight are Dr. Thomas Mathew, former Additional Secretary to the President of India, Rahul Chaudhary, former CEO, Tata Power SED, and of course, Ambassador Deepak Vohra. Gentlemen, welcome to the News9 Plus show. Dr. Thomas Mathew, I want to start by asking you this. You know, you've been a long-term defense ministry hand. You wrote the policy on defense offsets as well. Looking at what President Trump has been doing in the last month or so, do you believe that the US is a reliable partner when it comes to defense hardware?
Sandeep, thank you for having me on the show. I don't want to sound radical, but let me tell you something which I've observed all throughout these years. The US is good when it comes to supply of weapons.
Right.
Do they support you in times of crisis? They don't. Now, I'm not, trying to insinuate anything. Let me take an example from US-Pakistan relationship.
Yes.
Okay? In 1954, the US and Pakistan was linked through a mutual defense agreement.
Right.
In the same year, they are the Seattle. And next year, they are the center. So Pakistan was tied with the US through 3 defense links, or in their architecture, to contain communism.
Right.
But tell me one thing. Has the US, to be fair to Pakistan, has the US ever supported Pakistan when it came to a war with India? The answer is no. At every point, they have imposed an embargo.
Right.
On Pakistan. And most importantly, in 1962, do not forget, the Pakistani president, Mahmoud Ayub Khan, said, proudly declared,
right,
that Pakistan is the is the most allied ally of the US nation. Notwithstanding all these proclamations, if you really ask me, the US will supply you weapons.
Right.
They will allow you to fight a war if it is in their interest.
That's a very important point there, Dr. Thomas Mathew. You're saying that the US will supply arms only if you fight a war that they want you to fight. That's a very, very important assertion there.
So therefore, if you ask me, I don't think they are a reliable defense supplier, number one. Number two, let's not get caught up in this, incentive that they're going to supply you, the most advanced aircraft 35.
Right.
Don't fall for it. What are we looking at? Are we looking at a buyer-seller relationship?
Yes.
If you're looking at a buyer-seller relationship, please go for it. But please understand, it'll destroy your domestic industry. We need to ensure that we are a large defense manufacturer.
Right.
And if we have to strengthen our military industrial complex, you
Right.
need to have co-production in India. And
Yes.
I do not know if the US has ever undertaken any large major collaboration and co-production outside the US, except with regard to F-16 with, I think the country is Belgium. But
Right.
beyond that, the answer is no.
Absolutely.
And if we are going to import, this is what I would suggest. If we are going to import, ask them for a corresponding benefit for India. Let's say we have been struggling for an aircraft carrier.
Yes.
And they don't manufacture conventional aircraft carriers anymore.
Right.
Ask them to transfer the technology for the design of an aircraft carrier like USS of John F. Kennedy.
Yes.
80,000 DWT fully laden,
Right.
80 aircraft, and it will help us reach the next level of defense preparedness in the Indian Ocean.
Right.
Let them establish the credentials first before we go in for large-scale arms purchases. This is
Right.
my point.
Absolutely. Very important point there, Dr. Mathew. And I'm going to ask that to Rahul Chaudhary about the supply chain issues that we must actually strengthen to ensure that the US remains reliable security partners. But, over to Ambassador Deepak Vohra first. Ambassador Vohra, the last couple of weeks been a complete roller coaster in diplomacy. It's like it almost feels like we've been through 1 year of the Donald Trump presidency. There have been so many events. It's literally diplomacy every hour that's unfolding before our eyes. And one of the most important, developments to my mind has been how the US has shut off the arms supply to Ukraine. They've shut off the Starlink, they've shut off the intelligence sharing with Europe. There's no hardware sales to Europe. All of this makes one question if the US is a reliable supplier of defense equipment. As Dr. Thomas Mathew mentioned, the US will allow you to only fight the wars that they want you to fight. If, God forbid, you're going to fight a war of your own, which India has always done in the past, you're going to have a tough time when it comes to US supplies. Is this the reading that you see as well based on the last few weeks?
Thank you very much. Always a pleasure to be with you on your amazing channel, and you are brilliant. Now you have Dr. Mathew there. You don't need me around. I'm going home. He's brilliant. He knows everything.
No, Ambassador Vohra, please stay.
I've served in the United States. I've dealt with these issues.
Yes.
So may I respond first by saying on the Ukraine thing, we've made a comparison.
Yes.
Whose war is America fighting in Ukraine?
Right.
There used to be a character called Biden, some fellow is in stage 6 of Alzheimer's. His obsession was to weaken Russia.
Yeah.
He doesn't care about Ukraine. If Ukraine gets obliterated tomorrow morning, the fellow won't even know. He probably doesn't know the name of the country, just says he doesn't know his own name.
Yeah.
So here it was, the overriding objective was to weaken Russia. Has the US always supported us in a war? 1971, that's a bit iffy.
Yeah.
Then we all know what happened about the space program. You remember the Nambi Narayan episode.
Yes.
I know him. I have a lot of respect. But what happens is the message which the US has internalized, and I believe there is, I'm not saying this to the top of my head, I believe there's reason why I'm saying this, is that you deny the Indians something, they may take a while, but they'll find a substitute. They'll
Right.
invent a substitute. They'll manufacture their own thing. So this is a calculation that goes into Donald Trump. Now, he is mercurial, we all know that, but that's his style. He wants to keep everybody off balance. One point he says, I'm going to impose sanctions on Russia unless Putin behaves. Then he turns around and says, oh, Putin, my darling, my sweetheart, my brother. He goes on like this. He is that kind of person. He's also got a very warm relationship with the Prime Minister. In fact, I always say that our dear friend Donald Trump is the Baron of business, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi is the Nawab of negotiation. So when these guys get together, they have this thing. America would be very happy to send its weapons to us. When they sold those guns to Pakistan, they promised us that they would not be used against India.
Right.
And what we said was, we are delighted to know that you've invented a gun that fires in only one direction. So it's a fascinating conversation we had. But they have realized that don't push India beyond a point. Why do we want American weapons? That again, that's the question that comes up. Like, we want to diversify ourselves. Why are we looking now to make in India? Because we don't want to be dependent on anybody.
Yes.
And America understands this. That F-35 business is a total non-starter. We're not going to go in for that because our defense industry right now is booming stuff. Let me assure you, the space industry, 250 startups, as Prime Minister recently mentioned, the space sector making their own satellites, rockets, etc. It is booming, and the best way that you can encourage it is to not allow some third-rate or already even up to state-of-the-art, but something that the Americans don't want. They won't give you the best that they have. That's nobody will give it. Not even the Soviets gave us the best that they had. So here the question is, we need to step up, and we are doing it. There's no question about it. Our defense manufacturing, so many private companies, you know their names, sir, I don't want to mention them.
Yes.
They're making terrific stuff. So America understands this.
Rahul Chaudhary, very valid points there by Ambassador Vohra. Now, you've been part of the Indian military-industrial complex for decades. You've seen it evolve over the last couple of years, including this rush of American hardware. Now, we are at a very critical juncture with the United States when it comes to weapon sales. We have gone beyond that. We are looking at getting ourselves embedded into the supply chains of the United States, of the major, the primes, the major American primes. As a veteran of the military-industrial complex, explain to us how we can make it more difficult for the US to apply pressure on us in case there is a crunch when it comes to, sanctions and all of that. How can we embed ourselves with the US military-industrial complex so that it's a win-win for both sides? And, you don't have to shut off the pipe or, resort to sanctions of the kind that we've seen before.
The point which was made, and I would like to, the Americans would like us to fight a war.
Yes.
Which they want us to fight.
Right.
So, get out of this mindset of weapon into weapon. Look at the strategic picture first. The technology is completely change of the war. Between the Gulf Wars you started about with RMA.
Yes.
But today, after the Ukraine war and the what happened in Israel, the domain which dominates the warfare is space.
Yes.
And what Elon Musk has been able to demonstrate that his Skylink is far more potent weapon multiplier than anything else even the American army had.
Right.
The second thing is for sure that why was he able to do that? Because the space launch cost is 1/20th of anybody.
Yes.
That capability and that technology is something which America owns and has.
Right.
And who is are we going to fight with America? No. We complement America in a huge manner if we can provide the technological support. Indian IT industry happened because of the Y2K issue.
Right.
Today, if we can align 110% with them, just to stop this nonsense of independence. Please understand that today with the quantum computing coming in, not a single electronic surveillance piece is kosher. It can be broken in matter of seconds.
Right.
And we don't have those levels of technologies or capabilities China has. And China is our #1 enemy.
Right.
And what was told with the Pakistan episode, Americans have been the most reliable friends India has ever seen. From the Cripps mission when Roosevelt made Churchill eat humble pie and send a mission to negotiate Indian independence.
Right.
To what we got out of 1962, and after that, Nehru and Kennedy, if they had survived, the story of China would not have happened, India would have happened. The Indian Green Revolution,
Yes.
it happened because of the technology transfer from the Americans. It's a win-win situation. We have the technical manpower which they like for testing and getting equipment moved forward.
Right.
Let's look at it. Even if you are talking about a transaction relationship, first get something right. These weapon systems which we are talking about, including F-35s of the world, are completely and totally gonna be destroyed and denied because they are there is nothing self when a satellite is looking at you.
Right. Absolutely. So Rahul Chaudhary making the point for investing in satellites. Warfare itself has changed. That's what you're saying. Right. And Starlink is a case in point. The fact that civil technology today, it beats, outstrips Miltech. And that's an important point there, Rahul Chaudhary. But you know, the point that I asked you, I'm going to ask Dr. Thomas Mathew as well. The fact that, Rahul Chaudhary makes the point of India having, the United States having been a reliable supplier to India. But in the past, we have one other strategic partner, which is the bear in the room. That is Russia. The Russian Federation has been a very long-standing ally of India. They have participated in several programs where no other country was willing to share technology with us. Dr. Thomas Mathew, how do we steer an independent policy, if we were to do one, that travels the middle path between the Russian Federation and the United States? How do we have been doing it until now. How do we carry that into the future to ensure that the Indian military-industrial complex, travels this middle path, gets technology from both countries?
Sandeep, that's too idealistic an objective which you have. You cannot get technology from both the countries. That's not possible. The US as a they have a technology denial regime which is extraordinarily strong and severe. Okay.
Right.
Now, I for one would like to support India's closer relationship with Russia, because whenever India required arms to fight its wars,
right,
it is only Russia that came forward and gave you whatever you wanted. Now, Vohra sir is such a senior foreign service officer, highly respected. But I'll beg to differ with him on one point. The Russians have even transferred technology to India, the armaments which were not even in the service of the Russian Federation. I'm going to give you one example. The first example is the stealth frigates under 1135.6. They were stealth frigates which were designed in a highly sophisticated weapon system. Even before the Russian Navy had it, we got it. And Sandeep, you know about the ATV project. Why are you fighting shy? Talk about the ATV project.
Yes,
you have written
of course.
so much about ATV project. Tell me which country in the world has transferred technology for nuclear submarine to another country.
Right,
and
absolutely.
Please understand, if India has a triad, the third leg of the triad, which is a submarine force, it is only because of Russia. Number three, what I would like to emphasize is that who gave you the first nuclear submarine?
On lease, the INS Chakra. Yes, the Soviet Union and later the Russian Federation.
Why did they give it to us? Because we wanted to gain the practice of running a nuclear submarine. And they gave you Aquila 2 thereafter.
Right.
Now, please understand, what I would do is, I'll tell you something. Defense industry is evolutionary. Please understand this. No major power in the world has become major power without a strong military industrial base.
Absolutely.
Trump or no Trump, it doesn't matter. Now, you want to build it, you go to the nation which will transfer technology to you.
Right.
Okay? If the Russians are willing to give you, that is Su-57, go for it.
Right.
Please go for it. I'll give you one small instance and then probably elaborate another point. We lost the biggest opportunity when Soviet Union dismembered.
Right.
When it dismembered, we should have walked in bought MiG, bought Sukhoi, and many of their fabled, but I'm talking about the shipyards which made nuclear submarines, which we missed the opportunity. Please understand, from 2000 to 2004, if my memory serves me right, Russia was the largest exporter of conventional arms in the world.
Yes.
And today, I think they've come down to about 6 or 7% of the world trade. So today, Russia is in a weakened position. I would like to tell, or advise that India should go ahead and do a defense co-production of Su-57.
Yes.
Imagine the level of transfer of technology, just like ATV did. ATV happened to India. Today, what's happening? We have the capability to build a nuclear sub.
Right.
Or if the Americans want to sell F-35, tell them what design transfer of technology they will do for India.
Right.
They don't make, conventional aircraft carriers anymore. Ask them to transfer technology, but there is no history in the United States military-industrial complex of American technology being transferred to any other country except UK under the 1958 US-UK mutual agreement.
Absolutely.
This is the point I would like to make.
That's a very important point there. Ambassador Vohra, the fact that what Dr. Thomas Mathew said is that India needs transfer of technology. We want to get our own military-industrial complex kick-started, but the US does not transfer technology very easily. I mean, they want to be the MIC to the world, the military-industrial complex to the world. Now, Prime Minister Modi, the Nawab of negotiation that he called him, was in the White House recently, and he came up with this acronym, the MEGA or the MEGA. The Make America Great Again meets the Make India Great Again, and he said it's going to be a MEGA, M-E-G-A, make this relationship great again. But what are India's options? Like you just heard, the fact that the US does not transfer technology very easily. Dr. Thomas Mathew wants us to strike deals with the US, and in the way that the US is transactional, he's possibly advocating the same for India as well. You see a middle path here for India between the Russian Federation and the United States, again, two of our largest defense suppliers. How do we, kickstart our own military-industrial complex?
Dr. Mathew said that I suggested that Russia was not a reliable partner. Apart from it, my father was trained by the Soviet Union when he was in the military. Let me put it to you like this. Why should we take the middle path? We take the best choice that we have. Why should it always be in the center? That's that's passé, that's old hat. We would take from the Russians what they want to give us, and they will, because as Dr. Mathew rightly pointed out, their arms exports at the moment are not on top of the world. They'd be more than happy to give us what we want. At the same time, the United States understands that if we turn around to Russia and to revive our arms imports on them, America suffers as a consequence. It's a zero-sum game in these matters. Let me also tell you, sir, that in about 6 months, less than 6 months from now, the mother of all business deals will be signed. I'm not going to say any more, between us and the United States. Defense will be a part of this. Old McDonald Trump doesn't care about multilateral negotiations and all that. He's a bilateralist.
He's a bilateral guy. Absolutely.
Completely. And so is, Prime Minister Narendra Modi does talk about multilateralism, but he also says, dhande ki baat karo. So my own feeling is that the United States, today, who are their friends with Donald Trump around? Not even a handful. Europe has turned against them. China, of course, the Americans are reluctant to give us the technology because their argument, and I've heard this several times, we gave China everything, and then China humko aankhein dikhane lage and said, we'll teach you a lesson kind of thing. So it's a little reluctant if we do it with India. But we have assured them, I believe they trust us, that we're not going to ever get into a situation where we have a direct confrontation with the United States. So I believe they'll give it to us for market reasons. He's a market guy. Everything will be determined by market forces. We should go ahead with exactly what you are saying. Wherever we get the best choice, take it.
Wherever we get the best choice, take it. And Rahul Chaudhary, I remember when you were heading Tata Power SED, this is exactly what you did. You shopped around the world for technology, and he went to South African companies, he lifted technology, brought it here to India, Indianized it. It was so ahead of the curve, I remember that time.
Sorry. I never went for technology. I went for capability.
Capability. My mistake. I stand corrected.
There is a huge difference between technology and capability.
He went for capability. And he got the guns even before the Indian Army put out the RFPs. He had those guns in his arsenal. But
to get capability is a very different game than. And what I am saying is,
yes,
America and us, these weapon systems are absolute obsolete. They are now obsolete because the entire paradigm of these weapon systems is completely changed. When you are looking from sky down,
yes,
and you have hypersonic missiles and hypersonic weapons, what you need a satellite network connecting controlling the entire communication.
Absolutely.
Because you cannot control it from the ground.
Yes.
Complete
Capability rather than technology. But you know, Rahul Chaudhary, you just heard Ambassador Vohra talk about this mother of all deals that's in the pipeline between India and the United States. How do you make sure that we get a significant chunk of the US military-industrial complex to come here and, you know, strike deals with them wherever it's possible? Maybe a fifth-generation fighter, maybe the aircraft carrier, as Dr. Mathew was saying. There are big capability voids that we have, and we have to get there in a hurry. We don't have the luxury of time anymore, given the fact that you have a superpower at our doorstep right now. What are the kind of things that you would suggest that we do to ensure we get the best bang for the buck out of this mother of all deals?
The first and the foremost is that we need to have a security capability and network which we can trust each other.
Right.
Which means one network on which engineers can work together, from the designers to the production people. You need to get out of your mindset that I will have my own encryption, because I just said today no encryption has any value because of the quantum computing which has come in. I mean, 256 it will be broken in matter of milliseconds.
Right.
So let's get on and understand first. We need to really bring the two nations' capabilities together.
Right.
And the best capability from Indian side is our people have first major advantage. We have a 12 hours time difference, which means the development cycle is 24 hours.
Right.
So if people are working there, people are working here.
Yes.
We need to so facilitate that piece in your relationship. Americans understand that. They don't trust anybody. Americans don't trust anybody, but if we can bring that trust, and you have seen that trust in Americans with the Indians, CEOs in American corporations, 500 plus, the top 500 corporations.
Right.
Hell of a lot of Indians have reached there. So there is a trust element in the socio-economic sphere.
Right.
Need to build on that.
Need to build on the trust in the India-US relationship. Rahul Chaudhary, they're talking about the large number of CEOs that are running the US top companies in the United States, in fact. And that's a story that we keep tracking, the India-US defense relationship. Thank you very much, Dr. Mathew, for joining us. Rahul Chaudhary as well. Ambassador Vohra continues to remain with me on the show. On the 24th of February, TV9 Bharatvarsh broke a story that fugitive businessman Lalit Modi had got himself a foreign passport. This passport was for the Pacific Ocean island nation of Vanuatu. Now, this came after revelations in the international media about Lalit Modi being a fugitive. Now, Lalit Modi has previously served as the vice president of the BCCI and is accused of alleged bid rigging, money laundering and violating the Foreign Exchange Management Act. He left India in 2010 while under investigation for alleged financial misconduct, including unauthorized fund transfers. Now, this expose by TV9 Bharatvarsh, our sister channel, the fact that Lalit Modi was applying for foreign citizenship, in fact, he had acquired citizenship of Vanuatu, forced Modi to apply at the Indian High Commission in London to renounce his Indian citizenship. The latest development is that Vanuatu has decided to revoke his passport. The Prime Minister of Vanuatu stated that they learned about Lalit Modi's activities through the media. Joining me on the News9 Plus show is Manish Jha, TV9 Bharatvarsh's executive editor who broke the story. Ambassador Deepak Vohra is there as well. Manish, congratulations on the news break. Why did Vanuatu cancel Lalit Modi's passport? Give us the story.
Thank you so much. I'm just following your path, and no doubt, right now this is the perfect condition when our Indian agencies can take some action against Lalit Modi, because now Vanuatu has given order to cancel his passport, as well as Lalit Modi himself has filed application to surrender his Indian citizenship. So
Right.
a person without any citizenship will be the perfect case where our agencies can ask the British government to send him back, or we can ask for extradition, or any kind of legal proceeding can be initiated against him. So the question is why he choose to take Vanuatu citizenship. If you remember what happened with Mehul Choksi, when
Yes.
he got foreign citizenship, and then despite his arrest, we could not succeed to bring him back. That was the modus operandi of Lalit Modi also.
Right.
Actually, his intention was to keep secret his Vanuatu citizenship.
Right.
And in future, if there would be any problem, at that time he was planning to tell the world that he is no more Indian citizen, he is a
Right.
foreign citizenship. So that's why he could not be extradited. But thankfully, we got his Vanuatu passport, and after that, we exposed him that what is his real intention.
Yes.
Then I asked a question to Ministry of External Affairs, and then MEA responded with my question that now he is a foreign citizenship. Now he has a foreign citizenship.
Right.
After that, the whole thing happened, and now Vanuatu Prime Minister has announced to cancel his passport.
Right, and the cat was out of the bag thanks to you, Manish Jha, on the prowl for Lalit Modi's citizenship, plea and bids. But Ambassador Vohra, decipher for us what could have actually happened. We don't know the entire story, but the MEA acts very quietly, it acts very decisively. Do you believe in this case there was possibly a phone call that went to the government of Vanuatu about Lalit Modi's citizenship?
Well, thank you very much. Always a pleasure to be with you and to listen to your brilliant executive editor, Manish Jha. I respect him a lot. Both of you are outstanding. That's why your channel is the best. Now, let me tell you what happens. This Modi character would have filled in a form. We all do that. Those who wish to surrender Indian passports, we don't allow dual citizenship. So he either goes to one of our consulates general, or he goes to the High Commission itself and says, all right, here's my form, here's the application, I'm surrendering my Indian passport, and he gives his Indian passport if he has it. Technically, he becomes a stateless person.
Right.
Now, Vanuatu, let me share with you a few things. I've been there, sir, by the way. Beautiful archipelago of about 80 small islands. Total population 5 or 6 lakhs, not more than that. My economy is 5 trillion. He's less than a billion. And he is a member of the Global South. You might recall in August last year, they had this great virtual summit, Voice of the Global South, that was chaired by Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
Right.
Vanuatu was present there at that time, sir. And we are helping them under our ITEC program, Indian Technical and Economic Cooperation Program. We do healthcare for them, we do education, we do infrastructure. Worth a lot of money compared to the size of Vanuatu's economy. And he is not, the Prime Minister there is not going to risk it. Sir, let me tell you something. And again, maybe I'm sticking my neck out, but let me tell you, he would have known that they were giving what I call their CBI, citizenship based on investment. So he would have citizenship by investment. He would have given it to this guy. But when something would have happened, again, I'm not at liberty to tell you what it was, because it's something that the ME does. And we are very good at what we call duck diplomacy. You see, everything is placid on the surface, but below that, our legs are working
furiously paddling, yes.
So paddling furiously. So we would have reached out and said, buddy, all the support you get, etc., we didn't expect this of you. Then they manufactured an argument. The Prime Minister of Vanuatu saying, look, I didn't know and I was not aware of this. And this is very normal. Say, yaar, galti hogi, but I can't admit galti hogi. So you say, they didn't tell me the truth. I'll sack this fellow, I'll sack that fellow, etc. My feeling is that Mr. Modi is in a lot of trouble. More than that, sir, India has sent a message to all these absconders who run away, not just Indians, but all over the world. The message to them is loud and clear. This is not the India that would succumb or keep quiet. This is Bharat, and we know how to protect our interests. This message should go to all the Kingfisher fellows and all the Hira Motis of the world who are hiding in, what do I call it, fugitive son, otherwise known as England. So all the economic offenders sitting there, the message goes out, you are not safe there. We're not going to give up. 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 500 years, we'll get you back. Finally, sir, if I may, give me 30 seconds more. This Hira Moti character who's now sitting in a jail in England, I think, because he was arrested there. You know, one of my relative grandkid once asked me that, Grandpa, is this chap naming this Nirav Modi character? Is he a
Modi,
crook?
yes.
Nirav, I call him Hira Moti. Yeah. So I said, is this guy a crook? I said, darling, why do you want, how do you know about him? Why are you asking me? She said, in my class, they were saying that he's an Indian diamond fellow and his kid was also in the same school. And she said they were teasing the kid that your dad is a crook. Sir, for God's sake, for those who think that they can get away with this kind of thing, what impact will it have on your children? Professor Google will not let you forget for 1,000 years. Absolutely. Think about it before you do all these funny things.
Think about it before you do these funny things. And of course, as you just said, Ambassador Vohra, that there's duck diplomacy at play here. And as the title of our show suggests, that you can run, but you can't hide. There's no place for you to hide, especially, given India's excellent relations with countries like Vanuatu, which, is part of the global south, as you mentioned. But, Manisha, coming back to you, what's the next chapter that's going to unfold according to you? Look into the crystal ball and tell us what Lalit Modi does now. He's a stateless citizen. Which country will he run to next?
Well, first of all, I wish that the same pressure will work against British government so that they will be forced to send him back to India so that he may face to justice. But let's be practical. Dominica was very small country.
Yes.
When Mehul Choksi was arrested, we put all kind of pressure. We sent one of the brilliant lawyer to bring him back, but we could not succeed. There are lots of things. Thankfully, no doubt, we have a very good relationship with Fiji, Vanuatu, Tuvalu, Marshall Islands, and all other Pacific island country. But still, the thing is like government of Vanuatu issued passport to Lalit Modi on 30th December 2024.
Right.
TV9 News Network broke this story on 24th February. I had two weeks ago, I had that passport. I received that passport in the first week of February. And that time, trust me, no any government agencies were aware about his foreign citizenship status.
Right.
After our story, lots of agencies started looking where is he, and after that, Lalit Modi was forced to submit his application in High Commission London, and after that, all the developments happened. Now I'm saying that let's hope that our agency will keep pressure on British government, because the British government is hiding Lalit Modi, and there are so many fugitives, as Ambassador Sir has already mentioned about you that about this thing, that how all the fugitives are staying in London.
Yes.
But I think that this is the time when he should come back to India and face the music. Because right now he is a stateless, so this is the perfect chance for us.
This is the perfect chance indeed for Lalit Modi to be brought back. And Manish Jha, who broke that story on his Vanuatu passport, telling us that the pressure is now on the UK, to extradite Lalit Modi to face justice in India. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us. Manish Jha with that fabulous story tracking Lalit Modi's citizenship travails, and of course, Ambassador Deepak Vohra. Thank you very much.